It's Tuesday and it's time for Falcon Focus. Welcome to this week's edition of Falcon Focus, our final edition here in 2021. It is episode number 12 here in season number 3. My name is Matt Menzel. In segment number 2, we will turn our attention and focus on wrestling as they get ready to head to Nashville, Tennessee in about a week and a half, and then conference play resumes coming up in the new year. But Kevin Cook, their head coach, will join us. But first, we talk indoor track and field and being joined by cross-country and track and field assistant Nicole Kramer, as the indoor track and field season will get started this Saturday. They will be in Oshkosh, getting ready for the UW Oshkosh Early Bird Invitational. So we'll talk a little bit about the upcoming season, but first let's flash back to the springtime. A warmer time back in May. Wisconsin Lutheran College was the site for the NAC Outdoor Track and Field Championships. And Coach, well, what a great time it was, especially on the women's side. The outdoor track and field team, their 6th title, their first since 2011. At least on the women's side, when you look back at their success, what do you attribute that to?
Yeah, that was a really exciting weekend, man. That was just the highlight of 2020 and 2021. I feel like it was a great build-up. I know for me as a new coach here at Concordia, it was really cool to see everyone come together, work together, and just overcome all the challenges we had with COVID and, all the practicing and travel logistics and testing and all of that. We had just great support staff that helped us get to that point, athletic training and, all our coaches on staff too just seemed to really buy in and, overcome a lot of challenges. So, that outdoor championship was really the icing on top of the cake. It was a little bit interesting for me because I actually came from Aurora previously, so that was a little unique. But I'm fully a Falcon now for sure, and it was just awesome to be able to see our women and men just compete to the best of their ability and finish the year on about the highest note you can.
Let's talk about the men's team too, because again they had a solid spring in which you look at a guy like Gideon Kane who. From a shot put standpoint, he broke the school record that had been set back in 1996. Then he surpassed his own mark throughout the course of the season. He was the NAC champion of the shot put, also in the discus throw. You had a couple of freshmen that fared well on the track. Just, I guess, overall, maybe not a championship, but a solid foundation laid down by that group for what could be.
Yeah, our throwers are fantastic. They're one of the hardest working group of guys and girls that I think, in our athletic department as a whole. Gideon is just an awesome leader and, great Christian guy. Captain of our team last year and this year. I know he's going to be huge just in the motivational side and team side, just helping everyone accomplish goals. And I mean, he is just on another level as well. So really excited to see him compete and see what he can do. Hopefully qualify to nationals this year. He just missed last year.
So from going from the outdoor track and field championships to this past fall, the cross-country season just wrapped up. How would you summarize the way the cross-country season went?
Cross country went well this fall. It was awesome, number one, to be back to some normal type of meets, to be back in a regional field that was very competitive, but to have 20, 30 teams on the line again at some of our big meets, very different from 2020 when we could only compete against 3 or 4 other teams. So that was really good for our younger group. A lot of freshmen and sophomores on our roster that really hadn't. They have been working really hard, but just from an experience standpoint, hadn't been able to, compete at a full NAC championship before, compete at a full NCAA regional meet before. So just experience-wise was really good for them to kind of go against the best in the North region and Midwest and in the NAC as well.
I know Concordia has in the past, but just how neat was it for the athletes, for the coaches? They have the opportunity to host the NAC championship on this campus this past fall.
Yeah, it was great. Always nice to be able to host cross-country meets. Russ and our student assistant Micah do an awesome job setting up the course, making sure it is in tip-top shape, and that there's no hiccups along the way. So, yeah, everything went really smooth from that standpoint, and just allowed the athletes to be able to come out on our home turf and be able to show the conference who we are. So that was cool.
A number of athletes participate both in cross country and track and field, so there's that I would call it a quick turnaround, but is it a quick turnaround for the athletes? Do they get a little bit of time off between seasons, or do they go right from cross country to now preparing for the indoor track and field season?
Yeah, that's a great question. So most of our, if not all of our cross country athletes won't race this weekend already.
Okay.
A couple will on the mid distance side, just because of various hiccups they've had, and being seniors, they're ready to go. However, yeah, we give them 2 to 3 weeks of downtime. Have Thanksgiving break in there, so they can do some easy running, some easy stuff on their own. But we definitely want it to be a mental and physical break for them after everything that cross country entailed, moving right into track season. So.
I was going to ask you about this upcoming weekend because, as mentioned, it is the UW Oshkosh Early Bird Invitational, and hereafter, nothing on the indoor track and field docket until the new year. But as far as what the expectations or anticipation is of Saturday, as an athlete, obviously, if you're going out there and competing, you want to be peaking now. You're hoping your best performances are as the season progresses. So maybe what is the expectation or the hopes of what to get out of Saturday?
For Saturday as a whole team, I would say a big goal is to just experience a track meet again.
Okay.
Number one, it's going to be another very competitive meet. Oshkosh is a nationally ranked team year in and year out. And I believe there's 6 to 8 other schools that will be there as well. So it'll be really good competition right off the bat. I think for our group, it'll just be a really good chance to see what all their work from the fall has how that will help them going into this weekend. Our throwers, our sprinters, our jumpers, hurdlers, they're all hungry to compete and get back out on the track. And we have a really sizable group of freshman guys too, some coming off of football, but also some key recruits for us that I know they're just hungry to get out there and see what they can do. So.
No question, a unique time because with the holidays too, there's so many stoppages, and you practice, you have this early bird invite, then all of a sudden you maybe some more practices, a holiday break, and then you compete again coming up on January 15th at the Carthage opener. But what happens between after Saturday and then January 15th to, I guess, keep the athletes still in that track and field state of mind, but realizing too you have the holiday break in there?
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons why we do a December meet. Not all programs do, but I think it's just to help everyone see what, for newcomers, see what a college track and field meet is like, and to get them motivated for the real heart of the season, the indoor and outdoor season, in all of second semester. But yeah, just to keep them motivated to be training on their own. We won't be practicing at all after this week because it's finals and then the Christmas and New Year's break. So then we'll be back January 3rd, starting to practice again and gearing back up for the bulk of the indoor season.
We're going to put you on the spot here first with the women's side. So looking at the roster, roughly 23 athletes or so are back from that of a year ago, at least during the outdoor season. You bring in about 11 or so newcomers, give or take. With so many returnees and so many, strong returnees, when you look at their various events, faring very well, who are some of the athletes maybe to watch? What areas do you see as being maybe the stronger areas for this program?
Yeah, well, I'll start with 2 of our captains, actually, or all 3 of our captains I'll mention. Jenna Zahorik, she is just a really solid all-around athlete, scored in at least 2 events last spring, was on our, I believe she was on our 4x1 that was a championship, that won the title. But she, whether it's jumps, whether it's sprints, she's going to be there. She's going to be in the mix. Just really strong, really athletic. And then senior Jordan Schmidt, she won the high jump last spring. Coach Stark just told me yesterday, actually, how excited she was to see Jenna jump this Saturday. Made it sound like she's just ready to have a great start and just keep jumping higher and higher than she did last spring. So that's the goal with high jump. You just keep getting over the bar. So,
and you kind of alluded to it, on the men's side. Numbers, big numbers when you look at some of the newcomers coming in too. So kind of the same thing. Okay, we talked about the women and a couple of the captains that are going to be key. How about on the men's side, who do you see as what areas do you see as being the strengths of the men's program?
Yeah, we already mentioned and have talked about Gideon. No doubt he's going to be pretty key for us. A couple jumpers I think are going to be pretty big impact guys. I want to say Connor Kingsmore is coming off of being all conference in the triple jump last spring. Super hungry, super excited. And then I know, so another captain, Isaac Zart, he's been improving like crazy. He's more of mainly a sprinter. I believe he also does jumps as well. He will be in the mix as well. And then Timmy Bray, he was all conference in the 1500 last spring. In the 5K last spring and also scored in the 1500. He was all conference this past fall in cross country, had just a huge season. So I know we are expecting pretty big things from him. Will Ebel is a senior. He's ready to go in the 1500 or mile, 1500 and 800 as well. So going to be a big focus for him.
And again, for indoor track and field, it all gets going coming up this Saturday at UW Oshkosh. How about for you? This is your second year now with the Concordia program. You alluded to it already. You came from Aurora, cross-country head coach, track and field assistant. What led you from Aurora to Concordia?
Yeah, great question. I know it is kind of an interesting move. It might seem like it, but so my husband is also a track and field coach. We didn't actually meet through coaching, but that is one of our common interests for sure. He is the head track and field coach at Wisconsin Lutheran College, specialized in hurdles and sprints as an athlete himself, but also works with jumpers, throwers, everybody there. And yeah, he actually got offered the position when I was still at Aurora and we had just gotten married. So about 6 months later, I decided to make the move up here, resigned at Aurora, which wasn't easy, and kind of enter into the unknown. And then it was, that was January of 2020 and then COVID hit. So that fall, this position, or over the summer, the position opened up and Russ and Sam interviewed me and, got the opportunity to jump on staff here. So, being one of the stronger programs in the conference, it was really cool to, jump on board with this staff and with this school too. I just really, it's a great fit for me, spiritually and, size-wise and athletically too.
I was going to ask you, too, about your husband being the track and field coach at Wisconsin Lutheran. How does that work when you guys are in the same invite or meet and competing against each other, so to speak? Do you kind of stay away from each other? Does it get competitive? Do you not so much? How does that work?
Well, I like to say that pretty much everything is a competition with us, but we're very friendly and respectful about it.
Sure.
I mean, it's fun for us to be at the same meets together. I think it's kind of a unique part of our marriage that not many people have, can relate to. But we just have a good balance about it and try to keep it light. And, we honestly do, I think, secretly cheer for our partner in the sense that we want their team to do well, or their athletes to be progressing and doing well, but just not too well. So it's fun.
You've also coached at Olivet Nazarene, Frostburg State, Xavier. Where does your love of running come from, or where did it start? And then was coaching always a route that maybe you thought you would go?
Yeah, wow. So I was an athlete growing up through and through, basketball, soccer, softball. My mom has been pretty much my main, mentor, I guess you could say, and influence when it comes to running. She ran about a dozen marathons and, has been a long-distance runner over the course of her life. And she didn't have a lot of the opportunities that I did, being pre-Title IX. So I think, my love for sports and athletics and competing definitely started with her. She's also a diehard Wisconsin sports fan, so, coming from Illinois, I, kind of feel more at home now living in Wisconsin. But yeah, so she's been my primary influence, and then many of the coaches that I've had, my high school coach, Rob Harvey, and then my college coaches at Calvin University, Brian Deemer, Al Hoekstra, all of those, many, many coaches on staff or that have worked with me and have mentored me, either that I've worked with or that I've been coached by. So.
And from a collegiate standpoint, as you mentioned, you competed at Kelvin also a year I saw at Bowling Green, so you were a Bowling Green Falcon before you became a Concordia Falcon. When you look back at least your collegiate career, what are some of the highlights or some of the things that stand out to you or memories you have from those times?
Yeah, well, at Calvin, my freshman year, my cross-country team actually was third at nationals. And it was what they call muddy nationals. That's what it's known as now, because there's about 1.5 feet of mud on the ground. The women's team was ranked 13th going in and ended up getting third. It was 5 points out of winning the whole thing. And the men's team was ranked number 1 all year, and they won. So that was my freshman year of college. So I didn't race. I went as a fan and was just like, wow, all right, this is my college team. All right. So from there, that really inspired me and helped me learn and grow a lot, because I had a lot to learn as a freshman. But yeah, just kept putting in the work. Was able to represent the team my junior year at nationals when our women's team got second in cross country. Contributed on our distance medley relay team that same year in indoor. And got really into the steeplechase during outdoor. At Bowling Green, though, it was really cool because I kind of saw it as a bonus opportunity. The coach at the time, Cammie Paulson, basically, I emailed her when I was already on campus for grad school and was like, hey, I'm here. I came from this school and just wondering, I still have a year of indoor track. Would it be possible to try out or check out the team? And the next day I was on the team, and so that was really cool, and was able to run some times I never thought I'd be able to do. Just dropped a lot of time, learned a new training system. Worked really hard, had a lot of speed work, a lot of strength work, and it all paid off. So it's pretty cool.
I know you still train, you still run, but I have to ask you about your experience, the 2019 Boston Marathon, is what I read in the bio. Tell us about that experience.
Yeah, that was a really fun experience. At least the first half was fun. But yeah, just just an awesome event. If I always like to say, if anyone runs a marathon and hits a Boston qualifying time, you got to go and do it. It costs money and it's a, big trip and all of that, but it's kind of the top of the top as far as marathon goes,
sure.
Marathoning goes, and it's just a really cool experience to run with so many other people, and it's a tough course for sure, but really rewarding. I didn't run very fast on that day and wasn't trained very great, but it was definitely worthwhile.
Overall, do you have, even to this day, do you still have goals? Do you still have, a marathon that, on your dream list? This is where I want to get to, or I would love to have an opportunity to compete here at some point?
Yeah, I would say I'm always going to be an athlete. I did have to take a bit of a step back the last couple years. I've had some back issues and different things, so I haven't been able to train at quite as high of a level, if you can even call some of what I do training now. But I think it has been good just in this phase of life to take a little bit of a step back. I think in the future I would still like to keep doing some road races, maybe not marathons all the time. I think I'm more like a half or shorter distance. I was more of a miler, so more mid-distance in my mindset, and steeplechase. But yeah, I also got the triathlon bug a little bit a few years ago, so I think that's a little bit easier on my body in some ways. So you have that mix of 3 different disciplines. So we'll see if I have a little bit more time coming up in the next few years. Maybe I'll be able to dive into that a little bit more. But we'll see. It's just about being active.
Oh, absolutely. I'm tired just listening to that. There's so many of us that wish we could be in that situation, or even a couple of steps into something like that. But I mean, just the accomplishments that you've had over your time is incredible. To wrap it all up, though, and to bring it back to the here and now with the indoor track season coming up. To sum it all up, just your thoughts on what fans, or even from a coaching staff, what you guys are expecting or hoping from this upcoming indoor track and field season.
Yeah, I think we're hoping and just excited for all the opportunities we have again to compete. We're going to be competitive. I mean, we're a very competitive program. We're a hungry group of athletes and coaches. We also have a new coach on staff in the jumps, Joe Creer, who some may already know, that we're excited about working with and having him work with our jumpers. But yeah, we're just trying to build momentum, build excitement, build team community and culture. I feel like it's really good right now, but there's always room for improvement because we have a big team. So just for everyone to get to know each other and support each other. And just with all of those elements, training, keeping academics number one, but also, working hard and buying into the process. We're going to have a lot of PRs, a lot of accolades, and hopefully all conference honors and PRs. So.
Great stuff. Coach Kramer, thanks a lot for your time, and all the best this upcoming season.
Thank you very much.
And again, stay up to date with the indoor track and field season, CWFalcons.com. But again, there'll be an Oshkosh coming up on Saturday to begin the season, then a break, and then right back at it, and really get into the full swing of things come January the 15th. When we come back, our focus will switch to wrestling. We'll talk with their head coach, Kevin Cook, after this here on Falcon Focus.
Since 1978, Lutheran Church Extension Fund has had the humble privilege of supporting the Lutheran Church Missouri Synod in fulfilling its mission of sharing the gospel.
Thanks to our faithful investors, we provided thousands of church workers, congregations, schools, and organizations with the resources they need to reach more people with the saving name of Christ. It's what we do.
Because our greatest joy comes from seeing LCMS Ministries and her workers thrive, we will continue to make precious resources available, both today and far into the future. It's our promise to you.
We are Lutheran Church Extension Fund.
We are Lutheran Church Extension Fund.
We are Lutheran Church Extension Fund. We want to be part of your great and exciting work.
Welcome back to this week's edition of Falcon Focus, our final segment here in 2021. Then we will leave you, and we'll come back with second semester editions of Falcon Focus. Look for those to start airing on Tuesdays in late January into February, again back here on CWFalcons.com. But our focus now on wrestling and being joined by their fourth-year head coach, Kevin Cook. They are preparing now to head to Nashville, Tennessee. That's December the 18th at the Gator Boot Duels. Can't wait. Nashville, Tennessee. I think it sounds nice this time of year, but it's probably equal weather or thereabouts. So be it. But let's start by going back to last year first before we start looking at the here and now and recapping last season. A heck of a season for wrestling. The team started off 5-0 for the first time in program history. Went 6-2. Competed in the CCIW Championship. Sent 8 to the NWCA National Tournament. A couple of All-American athletes. It was the highest winning percentage in program history. How do you go about summarizing the way things played out last year?
Well, we're just glad we had a season.
This is true.
Especially with wrestling and the close contact, some of those variables that we had to go through. But just to have a season, and what was crazy about last year is it was a sprint. It was a track meet, and normally wrestling season, winter sports in general are marathon. They take a long, preparation, practice, growth, ups and downs, struggles, and it was a sprint, and it went really fast, and we just had a really good success. The guys just took advantage of the opportunity, first of all, to compete. We're really growing in terms of toughness, just being tough. I think getting a little bit more upperclassmen, getting some senior leadership, getting the things that we haven't had for the past 2 years because of low numbers, but and the numbers growing on the team as well. And starting out with the duels that we had here last year, going 3-0, beating Wheaton, which is something we haven't done in 15 years, beating them by 1 point. Exciting little duel there. And just carrying that on from that start, the guys just really grew, came together as a team. And we were lucky to have a championship that the National Wrestling Coaches Association put on with a lot of great teams in it. And having 2 All-Americans, Jack Odonnell at 57 and Austin Vincent at 133 and being sophomores as well. So it's exciting. It was a great finish. We always talk about have pride on how far have pride on how far you come, have faith on how far you go. And we definitely had pride last year, but we have faith that it's going to transition into this year for something really exciting. And that's kind of where we're at right now.
Let's talk about your 2 All-Americans for a second, Jack Odonnell and Austin Vincent, both finishing 11-4 a year ago. What did you see out of those 2 last season? And I guess what have you seen from them so far now this year, obviously with more experience?
Yeah, well, I knew they were, they were both transfers. Transfers coming in last year, which was really exciting. One, Jack Odonnell came in from Graceland out of Iowa, and Austin Vince came in Merchant Marine. So it was good to kind of pick those guys, so they had some really good experience under their belt. They came in, they were good leaders for us. They're really good wrestlers, really tough kids, really great kids, academically, athletically, and just good leaders for our team. And when they had the All-American status, they know that there's like a little, chip, little X on their shoulder, on their back, whatever the cliche you want to use. So they knew they had to put in the work, and they want to repeat. And I know it's tough, and they're working really hard. And but it's wrestling. It's ebbs and flows, peaks and valleys. And I say stay at your peaks as long as you can and get out of your valleys as fast as you can. And they've been doing that. And, and it showed, going into the Open. Jack Odonnell ended up taking 5th. Had a chance to be in the finals at the Concordia Open, which we were really excited to have. And just kind of made some mistakes, which is the growing part of the season, and Austin as well. So, but we're excited at their progression, where they're at right now, and we think as they grow, they'll be where they need to be at the end of the year.
And speaking of progress, how about the youngsters, if you will, from last year? Because you look at the roster, and like you said, there were so many freshmen, so many sophomores. Were you pleased with the progress they made from the start to the end of that sprint from last season?
Yes. Our growth in that sprint was amazing. Just to stay healthy, too, because you're doing so many competitions with a physical sport. First of all, I want to thank the athletic training staff for what they did with all the testing, and then just keeping us healthy, keeping us on the mat was really remarkable. And the growth of our young core of freshmen and sophomore, I guess that's why we have this excitement. We had only 1 senior last year. We only have 1 senior this year. And then, we've got a lot of juniors this year, but yeah, it's pretty impressive to do what you did with only 1 senior, 1 junior.
Well, and with that being said, so is that coming into this season, does that mean there are loftier goals, higher expectations?
Yes, the expectations for this group is pretty high. I set them high for me. They set them high for themselves. They truly believe that if they all come together as a team, that they can win CCIW conference. And we haven't wrestled really well in that conference tournament. We've had some injuries. We had some situations. We haven't placed where we think we are, talent-wise, where we think we should be. And so they're excited. The rules kind of changed this year. We duel everybody in the CCIW this year. So so January is just a lot of duels of CCIW competition, and it's going to be really exciting. And then they're excited. On January 20, I think it's January 21st, a Saturday, we go to North Central, Russell Augustana, North Central, and Milliken, and Milliken and North Central are the top 5 in the nation. So we're really excited for that opportunity. But we're in the 30th year of the program, and I've been telling these guys, you guys have a chance to be the best team that we've had here in this program's history. You've got to do it. You have the capability of doing it, and that's kind of pretty exciting. They're kind of looking forward to that, trying to be the best team that we've ever assembled here on campus, which is really exciting.
And we should mention, too, for those that may not be familiar, just a quick note that wrestling is part of the CCIW. Again, that's the affiliation for wrestling in the college conference at Illinois and Wisconsin. It's a little bit different, but
associated members, yeah.
Exactly. But let's go back to the way the season has started thus far, and a number of positives to take away. The season began the conference opener back on the 10th of November at Carthage, coming away with a 33-10 win. Your takeaway from first opportunity to compete this season?
Well, Carthage, they restarted their program there at Carthage, and their second year in, and we just felt we were superior in them. We wanted to go in there and wrestle really well, seeing as it's the first one. We're still going to make some mistakes, but what was really excited about that win is we had some really young wrestlers, some of our incoming recruit freshmen get some big wins. And so it was really exciting. It was just good start to the season, a good opener for us, and knowing that that's where we should have. That's what we should have done, right? And now we got to continue to grow, and then we're gonna have tougher duels in the CCIW moving into January.
9 days later, you hosted a brand new wrestling program in Bryant and Stratton College. Falcons coming away with a 39-6 win. Your assessment?
Yeah, it was good. It was good to have them guys to have an opportunity to duel, because they didn't have very many duels on their schedule and their starting program, and kind of they're right out of Wauwatosa there, and so it was a good opportunity just to kind of build that, I guess, or maybe a relationship or whatever to compete against. And we wrestled well. There was they had some pretty big name guys that they got in from transfers as well, and we got some big wins, especially at 84 with Carson Cook. He was going against one of the top ranked guy in Eccles, and ended up pinning him. So that was we were pretty excited after that, and getting Carson a big win and having that big win at home to start the weekend of the Concordia Open is always nice. We like doing that duel because the mats are set up, the families are in town. There's a lot of people attend, and it's just a great environment, and it ends up really being a really good duel for us. Good environment. It's kind of fun.
Well, there's a lot of great wrestling too at the Open. No different again this year on November 20th, the 26th annual CUW Wrestling Open. How did the Falcons fare?
We had one placer, Jack Odonnell took 5th, but it's we have a saying for this tournament: the season starts now. Once you wrestle in the Concordia Open, the season starts now, because we had number 1 North, number 2 Wartburg, number 3 Stevens, number 5 St. North Central, and
it's a who's who.
Yes, and that's the kind of tournament we want to put on. And we want to be a tournament where if you place in this, you're setting yourself up for a really remarkable season. And we had a lot of our guys on our team fall 1 or 2 matches short. Quinn Hoopman at 65. They call it the blood round right before placing. There's Austin Vincent, Veliko Kochi, just a lot of Cameron Mercer was right in there at heavyweight. So there was Jack's the only one to place with a 5th, but we had a lot of guys that were right there from placing, and it wasn't the result that they wanted, but they took away from it like, okay, if we continue to grow, continue to get better, we could be where we want to be at the end of the year at the national, because we have a regional or national qualifier, and a lot of those teams that were here are going to be there.
Oh, absolutely.
And we have to go through them to be at nationals. So it was exciting. it was just overall the competition is probably the number 1 or number 2 toughest Division III tournament in the nation, and for Stevens from New Jersey to want to come out here, and we had a couple more teams from out east that are interested in coming in the later future. Just kind of shows the kind of tournament we have, and it's really exciting, and it was a grind. It was tough, and we got one placer, and we were very close to getting many more. So that's a good tournament for us.
And from the Open to then more recently this past Saturday, competing at the MSOE Invitational. How do things go on Saturday?
Well, it's kind of, we kind of set it up, in the past where we go to the Concordia Open, and some of your guys that are competing at a high level are going to be trying to place and set themselves up, and then we go to MSOE and try to get get a couple wins under our belt, right? Get some of those incoming freshmen, get some guys who get a couple. Wow, they turned it into a really tough tournament. They brought Augsburg in, which is number 4 in the nation, so we ended up wrestling the top 5 in the nation the last 2 weeks, and then we brought in. And they brought in Cornell, and they brought in Central from Iowa, so that made it really tough. And it was really good. Jack ended up placing 5th again, and at 57. And we had some injuries, some guys not feeling well. So we took some of our guys had to take the week off, but to get better, get healthy. But it was a tough tournament. It took forever. They had 17 teams. We do 21 teams on 8 mats. They did 17 teams on 4 mats in the Kern Center.
Whoa.
Yeah. Finals were at 7. They didn't get out of there until 8:30. Yeah. We started wrestling at 9 o'clock.
Wow.
Yeah. So it was a
long day.
So it was actually kind of like I told the guys, control the things you can control. We can't control the time of a round or how long it's going to take. So, you got to control your emotions. You got to control how you prepare. You got to get away from the field house. You got to get out. Got to get some fresh air. You got to get away from everything. And so I was kind of because sometimes you don't have that, and it was good to have them go into that kind of adversity. I guess as wow, this is taking forever. How do you control that stuff? How do you control your mind, your mental mindset?
So overall, as you now prepare to head to Nashville, Tennessee next week, do you like the energy level? Do you like the intensity? Like where this team is at right now going into that? And then obviously the holiday break before things really pick up in January?
Well, it's hard to judge their intensity level because finals are coming up and they're just like,
sure.
This class, how's it going? How's fun? I might make or break me. I'm like, no, don't be saying that. But no, they're doing really good academically. But it's hard to judge that. They're excited for Nashville. I just told them it's a business trip right now. Right now, you have to get through your academics. We're preparing. 2 years ago, when we had this Nashville trip, we had finals this week, and then we had all week to train and prepare for Nashville. And this year it's finals is the week of, so it's going to be a little adversity for us to kind of go through that. And but they're excited. But we went down there 2 years ago, went 3-0, beat 17th ranked Ozarks by 2 points, beat Augustana by 1 point, and then shut out Wilmington, Ohio. So it was it was probably besides the 2 All-Americans last year, the most exciting thing for the team. The team just was like, wow, we're creating something really special here. That's what we're working on. It's a great team, and so they're really focused on, I guess, Open, Concordia Open and MSOE is more individual. But these next 2 weeks, we're really excited to just create it. Really work on that team aspect, and then going into January, we have so many duels. We're really focusing on how can we grow as a team for this next, for this trip, and then in January when we have so many duels.
And speaking of special, I wanted to bring up too, a few weeks ago, your assistant, the former head coach of the Concordia Wrestling program, the founder of the program,
My head coach.
Yeah, Brett Corner. He was inducted into the Wisconsin Wrestling Coaches Association Hall of Fame. His dad is also in that same Hall of Fame as they become just the second father-son to be inducted into that Hall of Fame. What has he meant not only to you, but to the sport itself? I mean, not just on this campus, but big picture. I mean, he is a name in this state.
Yes, he. Well, I'll first start off with what he means to me is he's just a great mentor, great friend, a great somebody I can bounce, thoughts, ideas. Gives me a lot of answers. Asks me a lot of tough questions. He keeps me accountable, and so he's just a great mentor, good friend, and he's just a wonderful coach. He's hard when he needs to be, and he's also understanding and very caring as well. And to go into what he means in the state of wrestling, yeah, I mean, he's, to kind of go back to, wrestling when he started the program here, and we've kind of talked about this in the past. College wrestling in the 90s, there was teams dropping programs or universities dropping programs like crazy. Oshkosh dropped, Superior, a lot of programs dropped. And he walked in, and John Book was the president at the time, said, "Hey, I'd like to start a wrestling program." And he's like, "Okay, what's that going to take? And and how many guys can you get, right?" And he said, "Sure, do it." And he's like, "So, what's the compensation for it?" "Well, let's see how many guys you get first." So he did it like without any pay for a couple years there to kind of get it going, and then doing it part time the whole time as well is pretty amazing. And but just leading it to now, continuing to build this program for the last 30 years, being part of it. And then now he's just always giving back. He's, every Saturday he's either at one of our meets, like he was at MSU, but now he's going to Battle on the Bay at Bayport for a recruiting trip, talking to, he'll be talking to parents and wrestlers and recruiting. And he commentates our move by move. And we had a duel at Carthage, and he went in there, SAT. He's like, "I'd like to commentate for it." And he's like, "What? You'd like to do that?" "Yeah." So he commentated he did the move by move at Carthage. And what's awesome about him is he's just talking about both teams and how they're, the moves that they're working on. And he's really good. He put on a great tournament. He's the tournament director for the Concordia Open. He brought in amazing officials. We had a lot of Division I officials, a lot of Big Ten officials. He brings those, and just puts on a good tournament. And he's been a great addition to our, to me as just as a mentor, a friend, and he's just amazing things for the wrestling in the state.
Yeah, absolutely, and hopefully we'll have him on Falcon Focus in the not too distant future. Wrapping it all up, let's take a look at the road ahead for the wrestling program. And as mentioned, immediate future sees them on December 18th at the Gator Boots Duels in Nashville, Tennessee. And then after the holiday break, things pick up January 6th here against Aurora, January 7th against Elmhurst, January 12th against Wheaton. I guess as we wrap things up, maybe what do you anticipate or how would you handicap, the immediate future for the team? What's ahead on the docket?
Well, first Nashville, we like we talked about it. It's going to be a great team trip for us, and we're going to have 3 duels. We don't know exactly who those are yet.
Okay.
Luther hosts that, and they're putting all that together. But we're excited for that. But we talked about the CCIW and wrestling all 8 teams in duels. That's pretty tough. So we're going to try some things by doing some back-to-back duels. So we have Aurora. And then I think we have Elmhurst the next day. So we're going to try that. See how that works for us. Hopefully it works in our favor. But we're going to try that, instead of trying to go Tuesday, Saturday, try to do a back-to-back. And then we move into next week. We got Wheaton and MSOE, and those are always close. I mean, those are always some close duels with us and Wheaton, and MSOE always being a rival always brings in a fight. But what's unique about the MSOE duel is we're going to have a high school dual wrestling at the same time. We're going to have basically the Lakeshore all taken care of. We're going to have Port Washington and Whitefish Bay wrestling on one mat, and then MSOE Concordia wrestling on the other. So we're going to have a high school duel going on while the college duel is going on. So I think that's something exciting. That's kind of a vision I've had of kind of working with, and I've been working with Port Washington, and yeah, we're really excited to kind of put that on and grow that as well.
Great stuff as always, Coach. Appreciate your time. Best of luck the rest of this season,
Thank you.
We'll keep posted on what takes place with wrestling, and you can obviously check out the results at cwfalcons.com. We thank you for joining us again here on this edition. We thank Clara Chambers and Josh Dinkelman behind the scenes. Thanks for watching. Have a great holiday season. Happy New Year. And again, we'll talk to you late January, early February with the second semester editions of Falcon Focus here on cwfalcons.com.